Peace be with you, everyone. Welcome to my channel. My name is Trevor. Really grateful to have you here. And in today's video, I'm just going to be doing a weekly rotation review, just going over the 7 fragrances that I wore throughout the week. Right here, the tail end of February. I think today is like the 27th or something like that. So without further ado, I'm going to get right into the list, starting off with Monday. So Monday wore this fragrance right here, St. Julep from the House of Imaginary Authors. If you're not familiar with this fragrance brand, they are kind of an indie niche style perfume brand. They do a lot of really great fragrances, very unique fragrances. I own 3 from the brand right now. I'm looking to maybe get a 4th one, and the perfumer behind the brand, Josh Meyer, has also done he's worked with another brand, Dyson Fragrances, and they've got a winter fragrance line that I own Winter Nights from. So really great craftsmanship here, but this fragrance was it's a mint mojito style fragrance. So mint is one of the main players in here, and then you've got some really nice citruses going on, a little bit of a whiskey note, which, you know, mint and whiskey is one of the reasons why I've been wearing this one here at the transitional period between spring and winter. You know, because you've got those boozy accords that go well with the cold, as well as the mint that kind of plays up the briskness of the cold, and then the greenery that's kind of getting into the springtime weather. Monday it was about 40 degrees and sunny, and then it slowly transitioned into a little bit of a partly cloudy style atmosphere. So again, this one was a really great wear that day. I have gotten compliments on this one already since getting it. Tested it out for a little bit. Imaginary Authors had some really nice sample sets that you should check out, that you can get for like 40 or 50 bucks, and you get like 8 or 12 samples, something like that. So that was Monday, St. Julep. Okay, Tuesday was a little bit colder. I think it dropped back down into like the 30s, and it was a very cold rain. So it just felt a lot colder than it actually was. I think with the wind chill or the additional factors going on with the weather patterns, the weather apps that I had were saying that it was like 30 degrees but feels like 9 degrees, something like that. So it was really just bone-chilling cold, even though the temperatures were above 0 at the time. So I wanted to go for this fragrance right here, Ombre Leather from Tom Ford. So one of my favorite fragrances. That leather note in here smells just like something from a luxury car, where you open it up and there's that plush leather that's kind of, it almost just smells like this bottle looks, you know, just like that shiny black leather. There's a really nice sweetness from a patchouli down here in the base, which is kind of like a signature style from Tom Ford, that patchouli note. But yeah, this just really kind of helped to, you know, weather that storm or weather that weather that was going on. Just nice wintertime designer style fragrance. Just, you know, if it weren't for fragrances, I would definitely dislike the cold a lot more than I do. I've always been rather averse to winter, but now that I'm somebody that collects and wears fragrances, I kind of almost look forward to there being cold weather, because then I get to wear fragrances like this. Beautiful fragrance. Definitely test it out at your local Sephora and see if you like it. It is a little bit bold and in your face and kind of very masculine. And they also have a parfum version that's a little bit softer, a little bit more ozonic. It's got a violet note in there. I'm looking forward to wearing that one kind of in the more transitional seasons, like spring and fall. But really can't go wrong with this one, Tom Ford's Ombre Leather for Tuesday. Okay, Wednesday it was a little bit warmer, but we still had a lot of rain going on. So I didn't have as much of that bitter coldness, but there was still, you know, cold and rainy and wet. And violet is one of my favorite notes to wear in rainy, wet occasions. Since it was still a little bit cold, I decided to go for this one right here, Dior Fahrenheit Le Parfum. So it kind of takes that Fahrenheit gasoline DNA with the strong violet note, and then adds some sweetness with some bourbon vanilla and a little bit of some rum, I believe. So this is just an incredible fragrance. It's unfortunately, I think, off of the US market, but they still have it at Dior's website in Europe, or if you type in Dior.fr for like the French version of the website, they're still selling this full retail there. So keep your eye out at discounters. This does come in periodically at places like fragrancebuy.ca, perfumeonline.ca, and fragrance net. I think Aura Fragrance occasionally gets these in as well. So, you know, add yourself to a mailing list if you haven't tried this one, because I think this is definitely a must try. You know, one of Dior's best releases. You know, for me personally, it's just like something that I adore wearing. Just so unique and masculine and beautiful scent profile. Dior is probably my favorite designer brand, right up there with, you know, like Guerlain, Chanel, kind of. Like, I feel like they've kind of been falling behind lately. Cartier, Lalique, these are all some of my favorite brands, and this is one of my favorite Dior's in my collection. Great wear for that rainy weather. That was what we have. Wednesday, Dior Fahrenheit Les Parfums. Okay, so Thursday, starting to get a little bit more kind of foggy, a little bit wet and damp, left over from the rains from the previous 2 days, but it stopped raining and it was starting to dry up a little bit, and it was still pretty warm. I want to say about 40 degrees. Felt very fall-esque, so I decided to go with this fragrance right here, Moschino's Toy Boy. Beautiful kind of dark rose fragrance. There's some spicy notes in here. Actually, the note breakdown on this is quite large, but it's got a really nice dark kind of almost greenish rose going on. So that's the centerpiece of the fragrance. If you're not familiar with this one yet, it kind of leans a little bit feminine at times. I tend to get more compliments from guys when I wear this one than from ladies, but definitely has grown on me. I didn't particularly enjoy this one at first, but the more I've worn it, and somebody at my job wore this one too, and I always enjoyed smelling it on them, and so that's kind of what made me start thinking about giving this one a second chance. That person has since moved on to another job, so I'm even more eager to wear this one since I'm not overlapping with somebody else at my place of work. But yeah, beautiful dark spicy rose fragrance, perfect for those transitional periods like fall and spring, just kind of, you know, in the autumn when you're kind of going into the winter, and then the end of winter when you're going into spring. This is a really great grab for those kind of occasions. I actually did a video on that type of weather patterns, my top picks for that, and this was in there. So really enjoyed wearing this one on Thursday. That's Moschino's Toy Boy. And seems to be my go-to Friday fragrance of the day is none other than Dior Homme Intense. One of my top picks for February, which is a time of the year that I like to wear those kind of chocolatey cacao style fragrances. This has, I think the newer renditions of this have replaced the cacao pod note in the original Dior Homme Intense with like a muskmallow or ambrette note. I can't recall exactly, but still has that chocolatey, powdery vibe, that lipsticky vibe as well. Still haven't gotten a compliment on this one yet, so I mean, I think Iris fragrances are kind of like a darling of the FragCom, but they aren't quite as mass appealing. Nonetheless, this is one of my favorite fragrances in my collection, Dior Homme Parfum being my favorite fragrance of all time. This one's just a little bit more wearable, and so I've been reaching for this probably about once a week since I've gotten it. Really needs no more you know, of me tooting its horn. That was Friday, Dior Homme Intense. Okay, so Saturday, what did I have going on Saturday? So me and my wife had the day off together, which is rare, just because we work opposite shifts and take care of the baby on the opposite sides of the shift. So we're lucky that we're not paying any daycare expenses right now. So so we had the day off together. We took the day off because we went to go file our taxes and had to go to H&R Block, kind of sort through some stuff. We had the baby this year, so we had to deal with like the child tax credit, and then I had some other documents and stuff from investing that I didn't know how to really do on TurboTax myself, so we had to go see a tax agent this year. So Saturday started the day off very stormy, wet, kind of gray, overcast, foggy, just kind of typical for what the week's been delivering so far. So I went with this fragrance right here, which is Dior Sauvage Elixir. I think this was the fragrance of the day for me when I filmed my top 10 transitional season fragrances for winter to spring. So you can go check that video out. You can kind of see the weather that was behind me when I was shooting that video, which was why I grabbed this one for that day. We also went and we were looking to buy a house, so we went to an open house. So I was kind of like out and about dealing with the public quite a bit. This is quite mass appealing. So that was kind of like why I picked this one. We were intending on going out to dinner later on in the day, but by the time we got to our taxes, the sun had come out and it turned out to be a really bright sunny day right around like 3 or 4 p.m. But this was still a great grab because even though it's dark and spicy, it's also fresh and got a little bit of that Dior Sauvage DNA underneath of it. And you know, it's kind of got that fresh aromatic quality that allows it to walk in between both worlds there in those types of different weather patterns. So beautiful grab there for Saturday. That was Dior Sauvage Elixir. And then finally on Sunday, it was actually really rather warm. It was kind of like the mid-50s, so it was really one of the warmest days that we've had in 2023 where I'm at so far. And I decided to go ahead and reach for this one. It's a new addition to my collection. I've been wanting to get some more wares and some experience with it, and that is Guerlain's Vetiver. So this is a newer formulation. I am probably going to hunt down some vintage formulations in the future because I really do enjoy this DNA. It's a really beautiful grassy vetiver. That's like the main appeal to the fragrance is its grassiness, and then there's some light citruses in there that have been blended in really well. It's very creamy, and then there's some tobacco and myrrh in here that kind of help to round it all out and balance the bright citrus soapy vetiver qualities with something a little bit more earthy and dark. And so like this is just like an incredible fragrance. I really just enjoyed wearing it all day that day. Getting a little bit of experience with the more warmer weather since we're just coming out of spring, or sorry, coming out of winter and getting into spring. So it being a nice warm day, this was a perfect green fragrance for me to reach for and kind of burst off my skin when having the sunlight hit it. So definitely check this one out if you haven't already. It is a little bit more mature. I don't know if they have this out at the Sephora's or anything to test, but it's really worth getting a sample, especially if you're in your 30s. This is a great fragrance for that demographic, I would say. Very gentlemanly, very beautiful. I actually, it's hard to say right now because they're both somewhat newer to my collection, but I think I would prefer this one over the Tom Ford's Grey Vetiver, even though this one is the cheaper of the two. So that was my week in fragrance. Let me know what your weekly rotation was in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.